Welcome back to Joe's Son of Boxing. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. I wanted to make a video about the subject of these various ruling body trinkets that seem to exist that get fighters world rankings when they don't really deserve world rankings. And I'm someone who's, because I'm middle-aged, I have that traditional mentality where I think the best way to bring a fighter on is for them to do the, area level, domestic level, Commonwealth, European, and then move on to the world scene. I think that's a proven way of doing things. I think people like it recently, like Billy Joe Saunders did it very well, a couple of others, and we've had some great domestic dust-ups. Richards and Buatsi recently was a fantastic title fight, British title fight. The British title to me is a tremendous belt to win. The professional fighters I've known who've not won it, who've remained domestic level, maybe fought for it or fought for the English title, they say, "Oh, I'd love to have won the British. It's such a beautiful belt," and it's like, you're the king of Britain for a little while. And I get that. But apart from that, for people who have aspirations to go on to world level, I think it's an excellent springboard for cutting your teeth, learning the trade, and then you move on to European level, and then you go to world level. Now, this sort of changed, or has changed, in the last 20 years, I suppose. No, maybe more, maybe 30 years, I don't know. Because now there are, WBO European belts and whatever, IBF European belt, all this garbage and all this, global, the WBC global title, whatever the hell that is. I thought that was the world title, but no, there's a global title and interim belts and international belt and all this crap, okay, which is what it is. It's just crap. It's number one, it's a way to fast track fighters into world rankings. And number two, most importantly of all to the ruling bodies, it's about picking up money. Because for every time you see a ruling body's 3 letters attached to a belt, it means sanctioning fee. We get a cut of the money. So let's go through a couple of examples of these, people who have suffered, in my opinion, because of this shortcut, this shortcut avenue that gets them to a title fight, but does not leave them prepared. And you can fight for a title, winning it, and then keeping it is really what you should be looking at. But we'll go with Anthony Yarde as an obvious example, because a few years ago, as you know, he fought Kovalev. I think he was a European, one of those European alphabet soup champs, so-called champs. Managed to get a fight with Kovalev in Russia. A lot of people didn't think that would happen, but it did. And you know what happened? He nearly had Kovalev out of there, but Kovalev, with all his experience, with all the experience of going the 12 rounds, being in world title fights, having lost and come back, he lost twice by that point, and he came back and won the title again. So he's faced adversity and he knows how to get through it and regroup. And none of this was. Yarde had none of this. He had none of this experience. None of it. He hadn't beaten anyone of note, anyone who was truly world class. He was going in there in the guy's backyard against a world class operator. I know Kovalev was past his best, but still a very dangerous guy with all that experience. And to me, the experience was the main factor as to why Yarde lost that fight. You also had Tunde Ajayi saying, empty the tank, empty the tank. Really? Lions in the camp? Yeah, all right, mate, all right. I've never trained a fighter in my life, but I do wonder whether that was the right advice, to put it mildly. But okay, so Yarde then comes back and he drops down to domestic level and he fights Lyndon Arthur and he loses. Now, I don't know why he lost. Maybe, he had some out of the ring issues, which, okay, I take that into account. But he should have been doing that before he jumped up to fight Kovalev. He should have been fighting the Lyndon Arthurs. He should have gone, British title, European, fight a couple of European level guys, then a couple of fringe contenders. And, what was the hurry? Why stick him in with Kovalev? It's ridiculous. And now, having won the rematch with Arthur, he's stagnating. He didn't appear on the big, Tyson Fury, Dillian White card. I don't know why he didn't. Because if he's got intentions of being world class, he should be able to fight someone on that card. Not a knockover job, but again, a decent European level fighter in front of that massive audience at 94,000 or whatever it was. fighting a guy who, you know, is going to ask him a few questions, take him a few rounds. That's all experience. Even if it's a subconscious thing, and most of the time it isn't, most of the time it's conscious, you're going to benefit from that type of experience because it's going to increase your confidence. Whether you realize it or not, it will increase your confidence. Okay. So I think Anthony Yard's career has been handled appallingly, and it's kind of strange because he's promoted by Frank Warren, who in the past has favoured the traditional route, and quite rightly favoured the traditional route. That's the one thing I give Warren credit for, because he's in his mid to late 60s now. He knows that, you know, that he knows how beneficial that traditional route can be. So let's use a more recent example, perhaps a less noticeable or notable example. What about Danny Dignam? Danny Dignam, who recently got absolutely obliterated by Zanidek Kanuli. I do apologise. Ali Kanuli, is that his surname? However you pronounce it, I apologise for my ignorance, but we'll call him Zanibek for the sake of the ignorant Englishman. Zanibek ironed him out in 2 rounds, absolutely splattered him. Now, what the hell was Danny Dignam doing in that ring? Well, I remember seeing him in 2018, 2017 maybe. I think it was 2018. I was sat ringside and watched him fight Anthony Fox. And Fox came in with something like I think he had 5 wins, 10 defeats and 3 or 4 draws, something along those lines, if I remember rightly. Yeah, he had a losing record anyway, a serious losing record. But he's better than that record suggested. And he had Dignam on the floor twice. And Dignam won a decision. It was over 6. So I thought Fox, well, at the very least, got a draw. But Dignam's the house fighter, so he gets the decision. But I remember thinking, this guy's domestic level at best. So how did he end up in the room with Zanibek? Well, he did it because he went down that, you know, stupid WBO European title route. In 2019, he won a WBO European title against Conrad Cummings. Whether either of those was worthy of a European title fight is extremely questionable. He stopped Cummings in 5 rounds. He then, I think, defended it twice. I can't remember who against. They were pretty nondescript people. I know Grant Dennis. He beat Grant Dennis, who had a winning record. I can't remember the other guy's name. He was a foreigner. Italian guy, maybe? I can't remember. But in the middle of all this, he had a draw with Andrei Sirotkin. And Sirotkin, I think, was about 35, 36, seen better days. I mean, these are not bad fighters. They're not, but are they really European level? So he's winning these WBO European fights. He's paying the WBO for the privilege of doing so. And he's positioned himself in the rankings where suddenly he's fighting Zanibek. So, but was it preparation? No, of course it wasn't. Zanibek is, you know, a hardcore, proper prospect. And you saw what happened. 2 rounds, he just got blitzed. He was over in the first, and he got chinned badly in the second, early in the second. I mean, it was horrible to see because he was just so obviously out of his depth. And by the way, this is not a slur against Danny Dignam. You know, he's a good, honest, domestic level pro. And he's doing his best to make a career, and his people are. But you've got to prepare your fighters if they're going to make these quantum leaps. They shouldn't be making quantum leaps anyway. They should be doing it in incremental stages. That's how you bring along a fighter. You maximise their talent. Otherwise, you get like someone like Yard, who's clearly very talented. I mean, I would say he does have world-class potential, and he wants the winner of Joseph Smith and Baturbiev, is it? I mean, no. I wouldn't rule him out entirely, but come on, man. I mean, has he really prepared for that? No, I don't think so. And neither did Dignam against Zanibek. So, yeah, I just think this is a bit of a scam on behalf of the Alphabet Soup Brigade to squeeze some money out of people, but also it's just the wrong way to bring on a fighter. Go down the traditional route, area level, maybe an English title or a Welsh title or a, I don't know, Celtic title or something, something like that, just to cut your teeth a bit. then, you know, if you're British, go for the British title. If you're, you know, maybe the Commonwealth title. European, have a few, you know, try winning EBU belt. An EBU belt, not one of these crappy alphabet soup facsimiles, because that's all they are. They're not proper European belts. Go for the EBU belt with its proper rankings, and then make some defences against good, you know, fringe level, world level guys. Then you move on. Then, you know, bring yourself on properly. Another one who could be suffering, I won't think this is outrageously bad, but if you look at Conor Benn, he's fighting older, light punching, former contenders, and he's looking quite spectacular doing it. But I would much have preferred to see him go British, you know, again, British, European, maybe Commonwealth. I mean, even his dad won the Commonwealth title, but, you know, he didn't win the British, didn't win the European. After being knocked out by Michael Watson, he went to America, regrouped, and won a couple of 10-rounders over journeyman. Jose Quinones was one, and I'm going to forget the name of the other guy. But anyway, when he fought Doug DeWitt, those 10-round fringe contender, gatekeeper type fights prepared him for Doug DeWitt, the WBO middleweight title fight. And he did do it in, I think, 6 rounds, didn't he? His son, Conor, needs to be doing more of this. He needs to be taking the distance. These are not big jumps up in level. You know, Chris Algieri was nearly 40 and was semi-retired. Van Heerden just about retired himself. I mean, come on, man. You know, no. I don't think it's a good thing. I think you need to bring people through, bring fighters through, let them learn the trade properly by bringing them through the stages incrementally, and then you maximise their talent. And then when they look over their shoulder, they can say, do you know what? Maybe I wasn't world level, but at least I thought, you know, I won the Commonwealth title or the British title or an area title. I know guys who won area titles and they're well proud of it, and so they should be. You get in that ring, it takes balls. But don't throw them in at the deep end where they're just going to get ironed out and it's going to shatter their confidence. So those are my thoughts. Leave your comments below if you've got any. As always, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It always helps the channel. I want to build my numbers up. Hit the like button. Good stuff. Thanks for your time as always, and we will speak again soon. Bye for now.